What's going on, guys? Dan over here, Wise Media Group, and today we've got an awesome guest. You're kind of like a celebrity here
Get
in
at it.
Yakima.
Get at it.
Lance Tormey. Lance, how are you, my man?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking me to come in here and talk. I appreciate it.
Lance, is this true? This is your first interview that you've done?
Yeah, it is. It is my first, and it will be my last. Yeah, I'm just not into being in the spotlight. One of the
No?
reasons I got into radio and not television. So yeah. But
So we should feel kind of honored over here.
well, yes, you should. Thank you very much.
Or I don't know if we should feel honored, Tony, or if it's like, all right, these guys are small enough that nobody's going to see this.
No, not at all. Not at all. I love your style. I do.
Well, guys, just so everybody knows, right now we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Tony's going to drop a link in the live stream. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're going to be doing a couple of different giveaways here. We got some Amazon gift cards we're going to be giving away, all based on what conversation takes place today. So you've got to be paying attention in order to win, and you have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. And also, Tony's going to show you the phone number that you're going to text your answers to, which, Tony, go ahead and put that on the screen. And for those of you that can't see for whatever reason, it's 509-497-8475. You're going to text your answer, and you also have to text your YouTube handle so we can verify that you're not full of shit and you're actually listening and watching. So that handles that. Again, thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, you're welcome.
So you are Lance from KIT News Talk KIT.
News Talk KIT. That's right. Yeah. Gee,
is that the voice?
Yeah, that's the voice. No, this is the voice. I hope, we do a lot of processing at the station, and like a lot of radio stations. So some people are gonna be like,
that's not him.
But usually I'm reading news, and so I kind of have I guess it's my professional news voice, but
Well, tell us a little bit of kind of like what inspired you to start a career of radio. How did all this start? When? Take us back to like the launch.
Yeah. Always interested in poetry and writing. Always a strong point of mine. My parents were both educators. Always pushing me, knowing I'd always have to go to college someday. Knew that someday was happening. So. But always wanted to also be a screw off. So really wasn't the best student in the world, and did a lot of things that probably I shouldn't have done through middle school and high school. But my parents, their love really brought me through. I had a lot of challenges with drugs and on, just like any kid does. But it was really my mother that her love really saved me from making a lot of stupid mistakes and things like that. So it was got into middle school, and finally had some teachers that kind of saw something in me rather than a screw off. Gave me some hope. So went into college, went into high school, went to Wilson Junior High, and just did some poetry contests, won a state poetry contest in junior high. So I kind of really thought maybe I could do this writing stuff. Got into Eisenhower High School, did some work on the newspaper there.
I was going to ask, were you involved in like the morning news and the writing of the school newspaper?
Yeah. Okay. I did a little bit of that. And
what year was this?
This was 1980.
Okay.
I graduated in 82. So when I graduated in 82, I went to Central Washington University, did that college thing like my parents said I should do, and I think I got out of there with like 10 credits in racquetball and something else, and it really wasn't worthy. Went to the counselor and said, I gotta pull my head out here. Either I'm going into the military or you got to send me to a college or university where I'm living next to a priest. And I was joking. I wasn't Catholic or anything like that. Anyway, make a long story short, went to Seattle University, had a dorm room that was right next to the priest.
Really?
And straightened me up. Really enjoyed it. Became an editor for my school newspaper for years at Seattle University. Graduated top 10% of my class. And through the latter part of college, I clicked up with King 5 News in Seattle and Como News in Seattle. We had a lot of the people that were working there as instructors. So my last year, I got an internship at Como, got into television, thought I was going to be this big television guy, but really got disillusioned.
What was it you didn't like about television?
Yeah, it was all about how you looked and the camera and the lights and I was a journalist. I just came out of journalism school. I graduated with a broadcast journalism degree. So this stuff. Of course, I didn't realize that they were making a lot of money, which I should have realized then and got into it. But no, I was a journalist. Had JRNLST on my license plate. I was dedicated.
That was your license plate?
That was my license plate. Until somebody asked me, Junior List, are you a real estate broker? Are you starting out?
That's what it does sound like.
Yeah. So I got rid of that anyway. So yeah, I started working at Como News. I worked there for a couple years after I graduated in '87 as a news writer for both television and radio. Was hired as a news writer there. Excuse me.
And this was in Seattle?
In Seattle.
Okay.
At Como. And about 1990, I moved to Moses Lake because I tried to get on as a reporter. And of course, I wasn't going to be able to get on. I didn't have any experience. It was a large city. So they basically said, you got to go pay your dues somewhere. So just looked for a radio job, really wanted a radio news job. It was before the internet, it was before cell phones, all that stuff. And landed a job in Moses Lake, had a wonderful job there. Just really learned a lot. Great peers and had a little condominium on the water in Moses Lake. It was just a really wonderful life. And then one day, one of my friends that was working at KIT came through and asked me if I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to come back home, and of course I jumped on it. I love KIT. I grew up with KIT and Cats. They were the talk and the rocket station here in Yakima. I grew up with those. I grew up listening to Al Bell, and ended up working with Al Bell in his latter years at KIT. So, and that was, I moved here in '92, moved into my grandmother's basement. Spent years with my grandmother and at KIT and I guess from here on out.
You started with KIT
in '92.
In '92, okay.
Right.
And you've been with them ever since.
Yeah.
So spanning over your decades as a journalist, so is your forte news? Is that like your specialty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I just started listening to you recently, as I've only been in the area for a couple of months.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What part of the news, like what is it about the news that you like? Do you enjoy like happy news, or do you realize that a lot of the viewership comes from the fatality, car crash of 5?
Yeah.
Like, where's the balance in that?
As a young kid, my father and I would chase ambulances. My dad loved fires.
Yeah, how the fuck did you do it way back then? You didn't have internet. Were you guys like on a police scanner? Or
no, we'd be driving, and if there was a siren, my dad would follow it, kind of thing.
Okay.
And so I was always like, standing at the other side of the tape as a kid. I was always wanting to be on the other side of that crime scene tape, that fire tape, and never wanted to be an officer, never wanted to be a firefighter.
Right.
I always respected what they did, but always thought, man, I want to be here. It's just this action, So yeah, in my first part of, I loved, gang crime, and not loved, but I mean that, gang crime and
it has like
the murder,
like
the mayhem,
taboo interest to it.
Yeah. And I even say today, when people ask me what I do, and I say, well, I chase murder and mayhem in Mayberry, that's what I do. But so for a good part of my career, I loved the murder and the mayhem, because it brought listeners and everything.
Right.
But I think at about 40 years old, after I had a daughter, and to this day, it's tough to do those stories now. It's tough to say someone died knowing that it's a family member, and things I never used to think about when I was a kid.
Because this is your community now,
right?
So there's a good chance that there might be some kind of a connection to somebody that something bad happens.
Yeah,
imagine.
Yeah, and but I mean, the listeners are my family. They really are. Right. I mean, they're the reason for the success that I've had. And they've brought me up in so many ways. They've helped out in so many ways. They've supported us in just a million different ways. So I mean, connecting with them maybe as an older man now, I realize that some of the things that I do and say on the radio impacts people, which I never used to think about before. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, today I'm a news guy. I love fires and, murders and all that stuff. Love to cover those things.
Right.
Wouldn't want to see those things in my hometown. If I had to cover, library openings for the rest of my career, in absence of that stuff, it would be wonderful. But
unfortunately, it's not the world we live in.
No. And I have seen that change in this community as well.
Has it gotten, as the community, not the community itself, but just the temperature of society, has the news gotten darker, where there's more violence and horrible things happening versus what used to happen?
Oh, sure. And the proliferation of information too now. It used to be that if there was a fire, or if something happened, I was the first on the scene. And now
some guy on Facebook is the first on the scene.
20 people are live at the fire before I'm out of the station. Yeah, you're right. So
who do you guys rely on for your tips? Are you relying on social media as a big part of it? Like, are you guys watching social media religiously?
Oh, you bet. But I think also just the so many years that I've been here, I just have so many contacts,
right.
And I just thank those folks so much, because they anonymously tell me things, or they'll call me, or, so that's one of the wonderful things about, I guess, spending so many years behind the mic. But yeah, I mean, social media is huge now, websites, you bet.
It's crazy.
And it's tough now to be the first with the news, or you got to work these different angles that other stations aren't following or whatever. And therein lies, I think, my advantage with being here for so long,
right. But because people know you, trust you, kind of like, we've got 20 people showing up. Well, let's let Lance come on through the red tape, kind of a deal.
It's been like that. And that's, I'm so privileged and so blessed to have people that let me through when others aren't, or something like that.
I imagine advice for, like, if the 20-year-old version of Lance was to give advice for somebody that's coming up new into the radio or to cover news, the advice would be this. Now, in 2023, news for the radio is I mean, I don't even know, how does somebody compete to get into this market now?
I think, frankly, when I retire, that's it. I think
you think it's a dying kind of a...
Oh yeah, I think talk radio, because of podcasts and
right,
all the
how the fuck are newspapers still around?
Exactly.
I thought they would have been dead like good 10 years ago.
Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. Well, I think online has saved a lot of companies.
They've gone to a lot of like online readership.
You bet. I mean, even now, if I used to have an hour meeting after my radio show in the morning. We would to go through, did you just say and? Why did you say of? Did you it was. Now it's like get your stories and get them on the net and get them up on Facebook and get people to read your stories.
Right.
And radio is just basically a primer to what's on our internet.
Right.
So
is that what it is? Where when you go on the radio, you're already talking about stories that
are on our
guys,
webpage.
Check out our Facebook.
Exactly.
We've got a whole story here. So do you only give like kind of tidbits to get them to go?
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, because my company,
clickbait.
That's, I try not to. I think a lot of the stories that I cover,
to an extent.
I think a lot of the stories that I cover are, clickbait anyway, just because of the nature of what's happening,
right?
With a certain news story. But yeah, my company is, I have monthly goals that I have to have people looking at my stuff. So, and that's been a really big challenge, because, I came through years of knowing radio, and all of a sudden I'm a writer now and working with Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff and making these videos, and it's kept me very young and green and growing, as my wife would say.
So as a writer, do you keep up with like the Chat GPT?
Oh, sure.
AI. Do you guys use that at all to implement to like?
You bet I do. Yeah.
And a lot of people think that's going to be the downfall, but I think you have no choice but to adapt to it.
No, that's just
if you're a writer and think you're going to not use that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the problem is you could take me that's not a writer, and I could see, this story just popped up.
Boom.
I could jump in and ChatGPT to say, write a 5-page article on blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Then somebody, of course, like you can go in and tweak it up, make it better. But the point is I can get that story like kind of out the gate.
No, you're right.
Before the best of the writers can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have, about 3 years left. I wonder what journalism will look like in 10 or 15 years.
Scary, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm intrigued by it.
To me, it's scary. I was just watching, and this is a fun thing about doing my own stuff is we can go off the beaten path as far as we want.
That's cool.
I was watching, I think it was on Netflix. It's about like kind of where AI is today.
Yeah.
And they were showing some basic stuff, and it's got me honestly a little bit scared. I'm not going to lie. They were showing AI where, they took the best Jeopardy contestant ever and put him up against AI. And of course, he got destroyed.
Wow.
They put the best chess player up against AI. Of course, he got destroyed. But then they took like these top gunfighters, like aircraft pilots that are been in it for 30 years, that are doing the dogfights, that are the best dogfighters in the world. And they put an AI intelligence into a simulation aircraft. And according to the pilots, these AI simulation aircrafts they use to practice are about 99% accurate, minus the fact that if you hit the wrong button, you're not going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way that they said it's pretty fucking realistic.
Wow.
And they took 3 of these guys and they put them up against AI, each one of them 10 rounds. AI fucking destroyed them all 10 rounds, like destroyed them. And they're showing how this technology is going to be put into planes. And the only question is are they going to rely on technology to press the kill button? Or is it still going to be a human decision whether to kill? But then the question poses where now you have the opposition, another country you're fighting, when they decide to put AI in charge, we're not really going to be able to fight that unless we do the same thing. So at some point, we're going to be kind of like Terminator, man.
Wow.
It's like a real thing.
Jeez,
you can't fight that without fighting it against the same type of technology. But that goes into everything. They showed it how they were creating cures for all of these diseases.
Yeah.
How AI can create these cures. But then, like, what if you used AI to take all these pathogens and now create deadly pathogens? So they tested it. It came back the next day, 1 million new deadly pathogens that are more deadly than any pathogens ever hit the fucking world. And of course, you look at, there's people in place that want to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't get in the wrong hands, and they put all these protocols in place. But the amount of people that they have working on it to make sure it doesn't get fucking horrible, you could fit those people into like a phone booth.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are creating the technology to go out and do all these crazy things, you could fill up warehouses with those people. So the point is there's no faucet to get turned off. It's just by 2030.
Okay, now you got me scared. Dude,
it's like all these movies you watch as kids, like remember War Games?
Yes.
Dude, it's a little like,
yeah, that's right.
You got to imagine the people that write these scripts and write these movies. Sure, it's outlandish to an extent, but really
there's some reality.
Really?
Yeah,
there's some reality.
Yeah, that's right.
And with every technology, there's always going to be, with all the cures for cancer, there's going to be some guy out there that's like, I can destroy the world.
Sure. And bringing it back to radio, heck, all they have to do is put in, clone the voice of Lance to do the news, really.
Lance of 2090.
Yeah,
Lance is still on the radio.
Ha, 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 ha. How are you today?
Back syndrome. Lance.
Yeah.
Man.
Jeez, I remember that too.
Yeah. So it's a good time to retire. It's kind of what you're saying. Yeah. Because you really have to, you come from an old school mindset.
Yeah.
And to be part of
I hate when you say that, but
I mean,
yeah. I mean, for a guy that wants to stay as a radio news guy,
right.
Those days are limited. I think maybe not so much, maybe if in a larger city, but I don't want that life. I was at Seattle University, spent years in Seattle when Seattle was beautiful, but I'm 3 minutes away from my work now, and I love.
You're a local fucking celebrity, bro. It's really, it's so much more fun being,
Thank you, man.
to be a big fish in a little pond.
I guess, yeah.
Because you're not arrogant. You're not like some conceited. I mean, maybe you are. Maybe you are a completely conceited prick. But from when Lance Leeds is going to watch this video, go, oh.
Did he just call me a prick?
Did I? No, but you never know who somebody really is. But from everything that I've seen, and even our communications through Facebook, but I will tell you, most people that I've met that have been in radio or television for a long time, they've learned the humbling game real quick, where give out, oh, you're almost to where you flip the script, you use that as like, oh, I can't wait to come on how to make sure that you're going to have a good interview. You don't piss anybody off. And that's a talent. It really is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
But that's not why, but I've watched your videos. I've watched your skiing. You got all these cool hobbies. You said you were going to bring us in. Did you bring in the penny art?
I did.
Okay, cool.
I did. Yeah.
We're going to show that.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can put it on the table. We're going to bring it up in a minute. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about, so you've got a daughter, right?
I do.
Just one?
I just have one. Yeah. That's my only kid.
And tell us about does your wife know all the money you saved for retirement?
Yeah, right.
He does now.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, my wife is a banker. Yeah, she knows all about the money. She's the money woman. Believe me, she has saved my life.
Because you came in talking about how you had this daughter and you're doing what you're supposed to do, putting her away for college. And
yeah.
Sounds like you had a smart one there, right?
Yeah, she went a 5-year. Yeah, she went to Heritage University. We sent her to Riverside Christian. Wonderful school here in Yakima, private Christian school. So I didn't have to, I didn't have a dog in the fight throughout her entire high school career for any kind of drama that was happening in public school. So that was just a huge, and neither did she. And then eventually she was so smart that she won a 5-year full ride scholarship to Heritage University. In their nursing school, including lab fees and everything else. So it didn't cost us anything. So the money that we had saved up for college, that was wonderful to save.
And she graduated from there?
And she graduated from there.
Now, is she to be a nurse or to be a doctor?
She was shooting to be a doctor.
Okay.
But went to nursing, got in and went through her first year. And I'm glad it was 5-year scholarship. Went into her first year and really was going to be a doctor, but then realized, and that was about the time that they had opened Heritage University, opened their nursing school, got into their nursing school, figured, heck, I'm here. It's paid for. Let's become a nurse first. She's been now for about 3 years now. She's been a nurse and just doing fantastic.
What kind of nurse is she?
She's an ICU critical care nurse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, with someone with that, 2 years experience, a lot of her colleagues just say it's just because she's just so smart and so good,
I bet she sees some things in the ICU.
Oh yeah. She's crazy things, that she comes home with things that, and the weirdest thing is that I have a incredible fear of doctors and dentists. University of Washington Fear Clinic after
a fear of what, like you don't want to drill in your mouth kind of thing, with a needle.
I grew up with braces and they were these, well, anyway, went through a lot of pain and had doctors, dentists that would tell me to shut up, slap me because I was so freaked out. Those were the days they could do that crap. So when I became 18, I remember in Summit View Elementary School hiding in the ditch as my mom would come to try to pick me up for a dentist appointment. So it was really a thing in my head. 18, I stopped going to the doctor and the dentist, went through college, got to about 27 and had a mouthful of hurt. But had to go through the University of Washington Fear Clinic to get back into the dentist.
So there's an actual university fear clinic.
Yeah, or there was.
Teach you how to overcome your fear for things that are like
just to get back in the dentist chair.
The unrealistic fear of a dentist.
Right.
It's because you had one dentist slap you around, they'll all slap you around.
Yeah. Or it was really the pain I didn't want to go through,
What do you think of dentists now?
I still get really nervous, but I got to be there,
Right.
For me, it's so anyway, the funny thing is that, my daughter becomes, a nurse and she comes home and this is all she's talking about. And it's freaking me out, because she starts talking about anything. Oh, Dad, I'm like, oh my God, I'm over here freaking out,
I picture him looking at his daughter and go, why would you want to do this? Yeah. Why would you want to do this to me? You're no longer my daughter. You're now the villain.
Exactly. But oh no, very, 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 very proud of her. She's a love of our lives, definitely. But and
where is Heritage University?
In Toppenish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toppenish.
So she didn't go to this big school with, the big dorm life and everything. She came back home and studied, but she was a bookworm, and you can just imagine the kind of stuff that you got to learn to become a nurse.
Oh yeah.
And
probably a lot of the same stuff you got to learn to become a doctor. It's just not as many years.
Exactly.
Very similar.
Exactly. I don't know how she did it, but she did it because,
I've got a squeamish stomach. I can't deal with like the show Fear Factor. No, I can't.
Yeah.
The guts and things.
Yeah,
like
me
that.
neither.
I'm like done.
Yeah, exactly.
So your daughter, your daughter's how old now?
She is 20. Gosh, she's gonna kill me. 25, I think.
Okay.
25, yeah.
And you guys do you share hobbies together? Because I know you're big into like skiing and skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
Who's your favorite skateboarder growing up?
I didn't, we did Tony Hawk.
Okay.
I mean, because we didn't have skate parks. We, destroyed sidewalks and steps, and that's why all the signs are everywhere now. But we, I raised her on snow.
Okay.
Really did raise her on snow. It was my intention to constantly be on snow. When she was younger, we were on snow every month for 5 years. We got a 5-year stint going. And so we were on snow constantly through the summer and the winter, and shared a lot of memories like that. And then I sent her to ski school, where she learned how to do all the jumps and everything. And I was in my mid 40s then, and hadn't been skiing a while. She got me back into it, and we got back into park skiing and
you still skate and ski?
I do.
Okay.
And it is the love of my life.
Really?
It really is.
Can't wait for wintertime to roll back around, huh?
I mean, well, I ski now at Mount Hood in Oregon, and I mean, I'm going Saturday.
Really? So It's that cold, that high up to where you can.
You can ski on the glacier, and there's always snow on the glacier, and
wild.
Yeah, it's got a chair, and it's wonderful big park with lots of rails and jumps and crazy kids. So yeah, it's really, skiing. It's almost like God, family, skiing for me, in this life. I mean,
do you go to church? Are you religious?
I always have been. I'm a Christian. I'm not religious. I believe in Jesus. God's always been a big part of my life.
Pulled you out of a lot of ditches, I imagine.
Man, responsible, I'm sure, for the love of my mother. That, there were so many times that, I was at that crossroads of. I mean, I remember the crossroads of the night that my friend was seriously injured, and to this day, brain damage, because I was either going to go drinking with him, or I was going to make another decision. Didn't want to disappoint my mother, and so there was a lot of days like that. So yeah, it was.
That's got to be very surreal to think about, because that. Not to say necessarily you would be in the same situation as him, but seeing the choices he made.
No, you're right. I know exactly where I'd be, but
is your mom still around?
Yeah, she's still around. She's 87 and doing great. We
Something tells me she's one of Lance's biggest fans.
Oh, she is. You can imagine. Yeah.
I think I saw some Facebook posts from her.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. But yeah, so mom's been a huge influence in my life. My dad was too. My dad was an art teacher. A big snowmobiler. We would snowmobile till there wasn't any snow left, and then we'd go find it. After that, my dad, if there was something around the corner, he wanted to know what was around the corner. He wanted to be the first there. If there was we'd be driving down the road. If there was a snake in the road, he'd have to get out and play with it or screw with it, or if there was a beehive, God, I remember beehives. He'd stop and knock the beehive down. I mean, your
dad was just like a giant kid, huh?
That's crazy. Yeah, and an art teacher, so he was really, really artsy and really funky, long hair, and so as a kid, I didn't really realize a lot of that. Didn't get it. Didn't.
How old were you when your dad passed?
My dad passed in 2007.
Okay.
So, and it's like, I guess, like everybody, those last couple of years when you hear your dad's going to die, he had cancer. So
start to reflect.
You start to, do all the things that you should have done so many years ago. Gosh, if there's a message I could tell any young person today, man, get to know your parents. Do it now.
Especially the ones that are like, I hate my dad or I hate my mom. It's like
sad.
There's going to come a point where you're not going to be able to undo those things.
Yeah. And spend time with your parents when they're looking good and feeling good, and so you can travel with them and ski with them or do whatever, rather than sit on the side of the bed and kick yourself that you didn't do all that. But yeah, after the last couple of years, I really got to know him and kick myself of the things that I used to think and say to him.
But yeah, you still have all these really cool stories about your dad.
Yeah. So. And I'm him now.
Right.
I'm the rebel. I'm the guy that doesn't want to get old. I'm all the things that my dad did, and I'm now getting back into my art and
skating and
and
we're going to jump to the art here in 1 second, but we're going to give away our first gift card. Tony, throw up the number on there. Guys, if we're first question here, we're going to ask, make sure that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. There's a link in the description of this video, and there's also a link on the live stream. And you're going to text your answer to 509-497-8475. What school and what year did Lance graduate? We spoke about it earlier in the conversation. What school and what year did Lance graduate from? That's going to be the first question.
University or high school?
High school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's why.
Yeah.
This is
all right.
This is talent right here. Years and years and years of learning how to ask the right question. What high school did Lance graduate and what year? That's going to be the first question. Text the answer to 509-497-8475. First person to text the correct answer with their YouTube handle. We'll ask you your email address and we'll send you a $25 Amazon gift card.
Sweet.
Awesome. Okay.
Sweet.
So tell us about let me hold one of these up here.
Yeah.
One of these cameras. And this is, did you call this penny art?
Yeah.
Is that what it's really called?
That's what I call it because it's, like a little penny.
Tony, can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. People keep telling me that I should do them larger, and I just think that anything larger becomes, like yard sale art or something. I think everybody's got pictures of that their uncle made of the mountain with the whatever, and that is always in the yard sale, or it's always never put up.
Hold some of those up, Lance.
Yeah, I just carry them with me.
Do you really?
Yeah, I just carry
where you go.
That's why I have these all. Yeah, I just carry these with me.
You brought those to the show.
No, I just like to put a smile on people's faces.
And you give these out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm at a coffee place and sometimes I'll say, here, here's $1 and here's one of these. I make these little things and boom, they're smiling. And I'm like, wow, that's what it's all about.
You sign and date the back. Is that what I'm seeing there?
Yeah. Yeah. I put that I'm ski freak on Instagram, and hopefully they'll go and they'll check out real. Well, not necessarily. Just realize why I'm doing mountains and snow and everything, because it's all about the snow life.
Now, when you're painting these, is it require this is an actual canvas, right?
Yeah, I just cut the little canvas. I buy the big canvases and
cut out sheets.
Yeah, I just cut them a little small like that. So why some of them are never. They're never like really square. They're always kind of screwy.
What made you get into this? Like, what was aside from liking art, what made you want to do small stuff like this versus big stuff?
Just because I know that I could give them away. They would probably end up on maybe because they're magnets that they would may end up on a refrigerator or something.
So that was the intent when you were making them.
Yeah.
You had that kind of mindset.
Yeah,
I want to make these and give them away.
I just
want to share some
happiness.
happiness.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also paint wood scraps too. And because one time I ran out, my saw didn't work. So I had a bunch of little wood scraps. So I paint these little wood scraps, excuse me. And I paint those little things. So
these are tiny.
Yeah, they're just little wood scraps. That's what I do. But I had no intention of making money or anything. I just wanted something that it was really for skiing, because when I'm skiing, I give these away, and I give them away in a little bag with 2 or 3 of them. And I know that I'm going to connect with people that I'm skiing with. They're like, oh, these are cool. I'm just like, yeah, because we love the mountains, right? Yeah.
So you're going to leave a few of these here?
You bet.
Guys, so anybody that answers any of these trivia questions right from Lance's past maybe we'll
There you
include one
go.
of these. You have to either come down and pick it up, or we can mail it to you, I guess. But you come down to the studio and pick it up. Maybe you'll be our next guest. You never know. These are really cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
They're actually pretty detailed. Looking at them close up, like you can see that, there's only so much detail you can do on something this small, but you can tell they're trees, you can tell they're mountains, you can tell where the sky is.
Yeah.
Do you paint big canvases as well?
No, I don't. Everybody, how come you don't paint them bigger? It's like, because I think they'll get, they'll be sold in the yard sale.
They're going to take up clutter in the house.
Yeah. They'll be stuck behind the stove or something. You won't like. So and because that's what I usually do with those sizes of, I just don't do anything. So now, if people if I get a smile for one time, they throw it up on the refrigerator, it was worth it. So.
These are super cool.
Yeah.
Next question, guys. We got another gift card giveaway here for next. What year did Lance join News Talk KIT? What year did Lance join News Talk KIT? The phone number is on the screen. Text your answer along with your YouTube handle. And Lance seems to think that there's going to be like one person that wins all of these.
My mom. No.
Mama Lance, we will gladly award you these. So
she's got plenty of these. Don't worry.
I don't want any more of Lance's art. Mom's still hanging Lance's art up on the fridge. Good job, Lance.
I was at dinner the other night, and my daughter sees, and I grabbed this and I pulled it out of my pocket. She's like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh no!" You mean I'm at that point now? It's an oh no thing. Okay, I understand. But so, anyway.
And how many do you usually carry with you? About as many as you have on you right now? Yeah. So whatever you want to leave here.
Sure.
I think they're cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what is one of the most memorable things you can think of at working at KIT from the time that you got the job? Was there a memorable story that took place or something that happened like in the studio? It's a pretty decent sized studio.
Yeah. No, it's stories that I cover, as a young man, I covered, just a terrible family murder in Outlook and down in the Lower Valley in Sunnyside, the Skelton family. And as a young reporter, that's, it's those stories where, the family's wiped out and it was two 14-year-olds and
that did
it and stabbed and beat the mother and the father and the little boys. And so I'll always have them in my memory, always have them in my mind. I know that there's probably Skelton family members in Yakima now that still have the memories of that horrible day.
How many people were slain?
There was mom and dad and the two sons.
Was it done in like a horrific type of a way?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it at all? If you don't want to.
No, I've
never heard the story.
I'll tell you off air. I mean, I think if you're from Yakima, you know how brutally gruesome it was, and what they did to mom, killed mom in the shower. I mean, it was horrible.
Are the 14-year-old boys still alive?
They are, and now they're back in the news because when they were sentenced to life, but then the Supreme Court overturned the ruling, I think in 2012. So now juveniles who were sentenced to life are being resentenced. And both of these young men then are going to be out in the next 5 years.
Wow.
Actually, one is already out. One is already out free, living back in the Sunnyside area, as far as I know. And another is awaiting his turn to be out soon within the next 5 years. So,
kind of reminds me of the Mendes Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, sure. You bet.
But they have a whole, according to them, there was, not to say there's ever a justifiable cause.
Right.
They seem to have a heck of a story of why they did what they did.
These kids were it was a gang initiation thing. They stole a base from a phone and some other insignificant object from the home and stuff. So it was there was.
You always got to wonder when you have people that commit these types of crimes, like, can they ever be truly rehabilitated to the point where, I get it. It's like, take a drug addict. You have a heroin addict that wants to get off heroin, goes through all the treatment, but they're still they can't just go out and like, you know, I'm good, I'm going to go use, you know, there's certain triggers or certain things that
Sure.
you have to maintain.
You bet.
And I imagine the same thing with a mental disability like that, to where you have, because really mental health is a real thing, but just because it's labeled as mental health doesn't seem, well, it's mental health, they should be treated like everybody else. Oh,
nah,
not necessarily.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
What's going to cause them to do that again? That's scary. I wouldn't want to live next door to them.
No, I wouldn't either. And I wonder if people who are living next door know their history, but
if you guys are listening right now,
yeah,
I have no crawls with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need you down at the studio.
Exactly. But you know, I guess the other thing that to fully answer your question, I spent 20 years with a good friend of mine, Dave Edel. It was the Dave and Lance show. We had a wonderful time, and the best 20 years in radio. You know, great bosses and everything like that. So, you know, in terms of being in studio, it was our show. We had a great show. I think if you're watching this and you're from Yakima, you know Dave and Lance show. I mean, we were everywhere all the time. Had a great time. Had a great following. And I really appreciate the years I spent with them.
When did he leave?
He left, I think, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'm terrible with dates, but
he retired?
No, he left to take a job at Riverside Christian.
At
Riverside Christian. So he became a history teacher.
So do you have a new counterpart that's there?
Yeah, well, I now have Brian Stevenson, who's my boss. And might I add, you know, through the years I've had the micromanaging bosses, and it's just it would drive you crazy. Over the last 5-6 years, my bosses have been wonderful. And I'm not just saying that because maybe they'll watch, but they don't micromanage, you know, and I finally got some bosses that believed in me, believed in the job that I do, knew that I could do the job, didn't need to micromanage. And that's been wonderful. It's really been, I've really been enjoying my career. Lately, I've been asked to anchor the Washington State News Network. And that's been a challenge. Is
that radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's news all around this. We've got 10, 15 different, maybe even more radio stations all around the state that are part of our network, and I do news for them. So,
okay. Yeah. So you're busy with news. It sounds like a lot of prep.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah. I mean,
Monday through Friday, you're on from, was it 6 to 9?
6 to 9, right.
And what time do you have to?
I also do the new news. So I throw all the news out at 9 o'clock and write new news for the noon report, and then do newscasts that I record in the afternoons. Could I get a drink?
Yeah.
You good?
Tony,
good. Thanks. So yeah, I am busy, but that's okay. I mean, but I get off, you know, I'm there at about 3:30 every morning. I get off at 1:45 and have the rest of my day. So it's wonderful.
Tony, there should be cups under the bar.
Thank you, Tony.
Let's see which cameras you got on there. Well, wait a second for Tony. Yeah. You want water, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. I'll wait for the second so Tony can switch there, because I have a question about one of my biggest fears of why I would fear getting into news or even TV when it's early.
Podcasting. This is the way to go, though. Thank you.
Because I can make my own schedule. That's part of the thing.
Yeah.
So when I think of doing like news, like morning news, you really have to be very mindful of like what you're doing the day before, the night before. If you're going to go out with friends and have a couple, do you drink at all? I don't know if you drink, but if you did drink, I imagine that's waking up the next day, have to be to work at 3 o'clock.
Oh, my life is,
you're probably in bed by what time?
Oh, I'm in bed. I'm asleep by 7:30, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in bed by 7 and I watch TV.
You've been doing that for 30 years.
Right. So, you know, and I'm up at 3 o'clock. And so I'm up at 3 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays too, which isn't always wonderful, but yeah, it's the life. I really look forward to, I mean, getting
about
back
when you have
normal
time off? When you have like a week off?
It takes me about 2 weeks to get back to maybe waking up at, 6 or 7.
Okay.
So but it comes back. So that's encouraging, knowing that maybe when I retire that I'll be able to get back to a regular sleep schedule.
Do you have a retirement date in mind? Like
I am 2 years, 11 months, and about 15 hours. If you want me to give you minutes, I'll do that too.
from retirement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not because I hate the people I work with, or I'm just, I worked with Al Bell, and he worked until he was, into his 70s. And I just don't want to do that. I got a lot of things I want to do. I really, really want to ski. I want to ski as much as possible. I want to work in the industry. I want to be around the people all the time. I just want to live that life, and so
you're gonna have a podcast studio up in a ski resort area.
Love that. Now, all this thing, all that stuff, not necessarily attractive to my wife. She doesn't necessarily want to live up in a cabin in the mountains 24/7, 365. But
does she ski?
But she skis.
Okay.
We're celebrating our 31st wedding anniversary today.
Congratulations.
She is my ski wife. Thank you. She is a trooper and skis with me all the time. Kind of took the place of my daughter after my daughter, got a job. So yeah, it's a great life. Yeah. So I'm ready to start thinking about doing something different.
Right.
I still have, I think 80% of me still says, you're not going to retire. You're crazy. What are you going to do all day? So, I mean, because, I take a week off, and but day 8, you're like, woo. I mean, you're twiddling thumbs.
You'd be like the perfect person to start some sort of a video podcast, just because it's already kind of installed in you.
Yeah, exactly. And I really want to do something like that. I don't know if that'll be possible, but I got to get out of this radio mics and everything for at least a year or so, maybe just
clear your mind.
Yeah, just stay away from it.
And you've also got a passion for animals, right?
Huge passion for animals. Kind of keep spitting on you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I like it.
Yes, huge.
I got spit on by Lance. Oh. I'm never washing this shirt again.
If people know me, they know, because I got 1 million dogs. I get and I want to say thank you so much to so many people over the years that have supported I got a little program where I collect dog houses.
Really?
I collect igloo dog houses. I've been doing it for years.
Where do you put them?
I put them in the back of my truck, and I put 2 or 3 in the back of my truck, and I drive around parts of Yakima. I might do it today. I just. What
do you do with it? You drop them off?
I see a dog, and I throw it over a fence. That's why I like it to be igloo and plastic, so I can pick them up and throw them over fences. But a lot of people have. I get on the radio. I say, hey, I collect igloos. I still do. So if you've got any igloos, I'd love them. Not the broken ones, but just give me a good igloo.
Something a dog can live in.
Yeah.
Livable.
I work with Yakima Animal Control. So beginning in the fall, where people are leaving dogs out, and the only option they have in this city is you either got to have shelter or we're going to take the dog.
Right.
So they come to me, and through all the people that give me dog houses, I'm giving them maybe 20 away every fall and winter.
Wow.
Yeah. So
do you have these dog houses are at your house?
Yeah.
Your backyard or something? Okay.
Yeah. I got a bunch in the backyard, and collect them there until they need them, and then they just come pick them up. So yeah, I'm a big animal lover. Always have been. I grew up with lizards and birds and dogs and cats and everything. We had everything. And my mom still does, still is a huge animal lover.
And your mom's here too, right?
My mom's in Richland.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony, pull up on one of the StreamYard photos. We got a picture of some stuff from Lance, and we'll pull it over on the big screen so we can see what's going on. You got to hit escape. Yeah. And then the one right next to it. And then blow it up.
Yeah, there you go.
That's Mr. Giggle. That's how Mr. Giggle sounds, just like that.
And then go down to the very bottom, Tony. Mouse, and see the little arrows to the very far left. There we go. So it's hit the back button. So this is some of the work that is kind of what we were looking at.
Close, jeez.
Yeah, we got that nice and zoomed in here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my opinion. I was going to make bookmarks out of these things. That's why I got holes in the tops of them. I don't know. Because they're just really thin little pieces of wood.
and then keep
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah.
All right, right here. So these are two of your. Are these two little chihuahuas they look like?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're
The one on the right definitely looks like a chihuahua.
yeah. She's 23.
Wow.
She's 23
right now.
No, I lost them both.
Okay.
Last year, but he was 22 and she was 23.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
Really, Chico and Maria.
Chico and Maria.
Excuse me, Rico and Maria.
So Rico on the left, Maria on the right.
Right. Yeah.
And the personalities that these dogs have, it's like they really become like entwined to the family.
Totally.
To more than some people can even really imagine.
Oh, as you know.
And it's hard when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm a dog person." It's like everybody says they are until they're not. Oh, well, I can't afford this vet bill. And that's why when I see little kids and parents like, "Oh, my kid wants a puppy." It's like, it's great that your kid wants a puppy.
So true.
But it's not going to be a puppy in a little while. And it's also not going to be a new thing in a little while.
That's right.
And it comes with major potential expenses. You have to be willing to you wouldn't let your kid, my kid's has the flu, I'm going to put them down. You don't make these decisions. So you have to really be mindful of that when you're taking on pets.
That's the toughest part, that isn't it? I mean,
it is, because you can't make somebody understand that.
No, and losing them. I mean, it's just they're our kids. They're our kids. And
you want to start a sob fest here.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't. But I've gone through it I've lost so many, and they're all waiting for me.
Yeah.
They're all waiting for me. I can hardly wait to see them. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry, man. But that's how close they are to us, right? I mean,
we just got a new. Well, he's not new anymore. We've had him over a year. His name's Ted, and our dog Oliver. He was 16 years old and passed away night before Mother's Day.
Oh gosh, sorry, man.
In his sleep. About as good as
that's
we woke up and he was between us, and just we knew it was coming. Like over the last few weeks, we nothing that left to do, and brought him to the vet. And we bought him like an extra year through fluid. We're giving him fluids like every other day, injecting fluids into him, and he passed away.
God, I did the same thing.
It's hard, and he passed away. And part of us was like, we don't want to get another dog because we don't want to disrespect his memory and all this stuff. But after about 2 weeks, I was on the back patio in Florida. And Shelly came out, and she was just like something. She wasn't getting better. She was just, I miss Oliver. And it got to a point where I was like, it's not that I want another dog to replace Oliver. He's been in our life like every single day, part of the routine, all of these things. So we started looking for another dog, and we found this little guy that was in Jacksonville, Florida, that this lady had. And she said she couldn't keep him because he had just, honestly, she wanted a dog that looked like a perfect chihuahua. Like he's got like an underbite and all these things. And to us, it's like the misfits are usually the ones that have the best attitude.
That's right.
So when we got Ted, immediately realized what an emotional dog. Like if me and Shelly were to raise our voices, Ted would get like freaked out. So it caused us to like communicate better without losing our temper.
That's awesome.
And to this day, like Ted, like now I have if we want to know where Ted is, all they got to do is go. Wow. And Ted hears that and he comes trampling over. Tony, can you throw those tissues right there, Tony?
Wow. Well, I mean, if there's anything to be said about pets, man, they
are.
They fill a void in my heart. That's for sure. Most definitely.
We were supposed to do this last Thursday, you and I, but I've been dealing with this.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
it's been torture. But I was going to bring Ted with me. I was going to have, but I ended up not being able to bring him in today. But it's cool. Your love for dogs. We're actually getting ready to do we have a whole nother segment of a separate part of the podcast. You ever watch TED Talks?
Sure. You bet.
So we're launching a section called Ted Barks, and it's interviewing people that have pets where it's either changed their life in an inspirational way.
That's really cool.
So maybe you can help facilitate that.
Love it. I love it. I've had a million pets that have inspired me. Definitely.
Yeah, so that would be fun.
Made my life very, very rich. Very rich.
Right. It's when you ask people what is wealth, everyone has a different definition of wealth, and a lot of times it'll become to like money or belongings or things like that. But really, it's money and things come and go, and so do pets. And you have to enjoy them in the moment, right? You have to
you're right.
You gotta love them while they're here because they're
That's
not
right.
they're not going to last forever. How many pets
Yeah.
do you currently have right at this time?
If I was to tell you, they'd probably have to arrest me, so I can't do that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm a little out of the city. What I'm not supposed to be having. So, but yeah. So that's where
Is it mostly dogs, cats?
Yeah, dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all dogs.
No cats?
No cats.
Okay.
Love to have cats, but my dogs probably wouldn't do good with them.
Are
so.
some of your dogs bigger dogs?
No, they're just all little
guys?
runts. Yeah.
They sleep in bed and stuff?
They do. They, I have 7 in the bedroom right now. I think, oh, did I just say, oh my God, can you erase that? Anyway, yeah, they're our life. I mean, they have the run of the house and yeah.
And your wife fully supports the cause?
Totally.
That's awesome. It's got to be like that, right?
Yeah. And they each have a story. I've never in my life bought a dog from a, I mean, all my life, it's always been a dog. We've always, I think for my first dog, I had a lab because my dad was a hunter. So he had to have his special lab. But beyond that, it was just always.
And the dog's stories of where they came from, like how you got them?
My story, where I pick them up, or off the sidewalk or, from the last 2 I got, a good friend of mine found them out in Sela at a warehouse running around a parking lot out there. So
Washington, I was not expecting to see that. When I moved here, I see a lot of specifically like little like Chihuahua type dogs just kind of roaming around. You don't see that in Florida. Florida Chihuahuas are like luxury dogs. Here you could go.
Oh, there are places in the lower valley where I can't even go.
Really?
I just can't go because,
too many, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of sad cases. I used to try to work down there to get my dog houses down there, but the cases would just keep me up at night.
And you got to know your limits because you can't.
Yeah,
you can't save them all.
No, and even the ones that I see now. I mean, there's so much neglect in Yakima.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but there's just so much neglect. Year round. I mean, the fact that I can give out 20 to 30 dog houses every year.
It doesn't.
Right. Says a lot, and in the situations, especially in the fall and the winter that I see is just, they keep there's many stories that keep me up at night and, thinking about how am I going to go steal the dog or, and I don't, but I mean, you just start freaking out,
Lance is like Batman over here.
Yeah. You just you gotta save. So, a lot of the times I'll give a dog house and have bedding and try to get a bunch of chews and, and
that might be something that sparks.
Exactly. It maybe sparks them to maybe do the same or something.
Holy shit. I was being kind of a POS, not taking care of my dog.
Right.
At least this guy didn't kidnap my dog. You put a dog house in here with beds and chewies in here instead.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And through all this, it's really been the listeners out there that have helped me. I mean, we've had so many great raising money for dog vests. I mean, I've had people walk in the station and give me a $1,500 check, $500 here, $200 there. Just, and if you didn't give any money, you sent me notes or you called us up on the radio and you supported me. It's really just
goes a long way. The community, community is method, people up and people kind of a motto is really. Because if you were talking to the radio and nobody was listening, it would just be like right now how I'm hearing myself talk. It's great that you have such a vast community. You've been part of it for so long.
Wonderful.
That's a long time to be a part of the community and make a positive influence. Because you see so many people that start off good and then all of a sudden the skeletons come out of the closet. And you seem to have maintained a good reputation throughout your run in Yakima.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've always been concerned about that. Still to this day, really bothers me to hear any kind of criticism. Tough to do any of these kind of interviews because I know that it's going to be out there and people can comment.
Right.
It's really why I definitely wanted to stay out of television. Didn't ever want to be in a grocery store and have somebody recognize me. To have no desire to do that.
We've definitely come to a time in the era where it's so easy to be critical of somebody.
Sure.
And a lot of times the criticism comes from somebody's own darkness where they're not where they want to be.
So true.
And they kind of like unleash it on somebody else.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. No, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. Thank you, Tony.
So people can listen to you Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, around 6 to 9. I do the news with Rob Vickers and Brian Stevenson. It's Good Morning Yakima. It's on 1280 KIT AM and 103 FM. Gosh, my boss is gonna kill me if I didn't just get that. I'm an AM guy. We do have.
I didn't know you were on FM.
We have an FM. It's like 103. Oh God, no, it's not 103. Oh God, I'm gonna die. Anyway,
it was on the thumbnail, Tony.
Everybody yeah. Anyway, 1280 KIT on the AM dial, and download our app. That's really,
What about on like
it's all about the app.
iHeartRadio, they can listen to you there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So they can listen to it in their car and stream. Yeah. Now, can any of your episodes of shows that you've done or any of them recorded where people can go on and listen to stuff in the past?
No.
So they can't listen to yesterday's stuff.
No.
Okay.
No. I think maybe that's something that we'll do in the future, but it's just not happening now yet.
And then you said you do a noon.
I do a noon report. I do a noon report and at 12:30. And then I record news in the afternoon. I also record news for the morning after the 9 o'clock show. I do a 9:30, a 10, an 11, and then I do a noon report and
your day
12:30.
Is really compiled of this.
Yeah, it's
retirement's going to be. You're not going to know what to do with yourself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think about it, and I definitely want to have a job lined up.
But you know what's cool is you're young enough to where you could retire, and then 5 years from now, go, you know what? I got some more left in me.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And I bet. So, do you have any vested interest in KIT, or are you just purely an employee there?
No, just an employee.
Okay, so you never moved up the ranks, never got any. Okay,
no, never wanted to.
We're gonna find out. Lance owns KIT.
No, yeah, right. No. I never wanted to. It's a public traded company now, Town Square Media. So I guess I could get stock, but I don't even own stock. So,
I was gonna be a very next question.
Yeah, no, maybe I will in the future, but no.
What do you want to leave some listeners with here? And last question, guys, just so you know, $25 Amazon gift card. All you got to do is text the right answer to 509-497-8475 and also include your YouTube handle. What university did Lance's daughter graduate from as nursing school? She was originally going to be a doctor and then changed midway when they opened up the new program. But what university did she graduate from? And correct answer, $25 Amazon gift card coming your way, courtesy of Lance. Lance, I forgot to tell you, you got to give me $75 for your leave.
I was going to say, courtesy of me. Wait a minute.
Just kidding.
Just like my wife, Shoot.
Lance is like, man, I thought he wanted me to come on just to talk.
She's got, I think she has my wife is a banker and has been a banker now for like 36, 37 years. I think she's got a bill on her computer when I spend money, because it's like I spend money. It's like, boom, what'd you spend money on right away? So, but she's the love of my life and has certainly kept us afloat, because she's a banker and because I love to chase adrenaline. I'm an adrenaline chaser.
I can tell.
If I'm not skiing, I love roulette. I love to gamble. Geez, I can't believe I even said that, but I do. I mean,
you do that now?
I do now. Yeah.
Do we need to contact like GAs?
Yeah. My wife would say, but I mean, I don't go down there Monday through Friday or anything. I go down there maybe, on a Saturday or Saturday afternoon or something like that. But my wife would try. I wouldn't even do that.
Anything done in moderation can be.
Well, she would say it's not moderation, but okay.
You and I are gonna have some fun after hours.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly. But, I grew up in this community and a lot of people, I think through my elementary and high school years, didn't ever think I was going to do anything. But there were just a couple of those teachers, that saw something in me and sparked me. And man, that if you're a teacher out there, just keep doing what you're doing, man, and do it with the kids that you think that maybe aren't paying attention or that just need a little extra attention, man, because they changed my life. And if you're a parent out there, love the hell out of your kids, because love saved my life. I could say a billion different things, but it was the love that I had coming to me and the respect that I felt that my parents and my grandparents always gave me. And then I really wanted to give that back to them. And going through college, I always wanted to bring my my grades home, show my grandfather, because I know he was so proud of me. And so it's really about family and our listeners out there and God. That's really the basis of, if you want to call this career a success. I'm so humbled by the fact that people listen to me and give me the time of day and the things that I do and pay attention. I can't thank you enough, Yakima, for being such a wonderful community. My home.
Well, guys, there you have it. Lance Tormey. I thought this was going to be the very first episode where there was no tears shed, but
no,
Lance,
no,
you're a good soul, brother. I can
Thank
see
you.
it now. You got a lot of love to give, a lot of years left to give it. And
Thank you. And I love this country. I am a flag waving American. I love this country. I love the freedom that I have. And I wanted to say that.
And
I hang my flag.
everybody that's
flag
fought for this
proudly.
country, it's given us the right to do what we're doing right now.
Got that
I can
right.
say things I don't like about this country, enough to worry about being beat up or shut down for it.
Yep.
So
I love your style,
Thank
Tony.
you,
I love you guys. I really do. I think you guys do a great job. I
Well,
think you can really speak to people's hearts. So thank you.
And anytime you want to come back and talk about things and cut it up,
Yeah.
or talk about, do some cool snow stuff, maybe he's gonna start building a little snowman or something. I don't know what's next. But Lance, thank you so much,
Hey,
brother. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
you.
We'll see you next time. Remember, if you know the answers to the trivia, shoot the text over, and hopefully you'll get a $25 gift card. See you next time. Peace, everybody. We're out of here.